Welcome back to the channel, everybody. We are doing a little bit of polishing out here in the shop today, and it's a little different than what you might have seen here in the past where I cut something and I polish it up on a machine. No. I've been polishing rocks for several years now, and I would rate my polishing skills at a solid B+. I have room to improve on my finishes. A couple of examples of what I would say is a B+, there's that light, a B+ polish right here. You can kind of see out my shop window there. I would say that's a B+ polish. One more. Okay, if you look at it like this, it might look really good. There's out the window, B+ polish. There's room to improve, and that's what today's video is about. I'm going to be trying to get better at polishing. So, my friend Stefan, who has a YouTube channel, Stefan's Stones, has a very similar setup to what I have. He has a Richardson's high-speed sander, which I also have. We have the same grits of silicon carbide sanding discs. And the big difference, though, is in his buffing setup. So, his buffer is like a piece of leather stretched over a domed piece of wood, and he has it rough side out. We both use the same optical grade cerium oxide. However, I do not use leather over a domed wheel. I'm using carpet over a flat wheel. My carpet wheel that you've probably seen in the past. I got videos up. I got an article on the website. It's great, you know, all of that. Well, I would say Stefan is better at polishing than me. So I'm hoping that I can learn a couple of things from him. And he's been kind enough to send me those rocks right over there on the bench. Let's head over to the bench real quick. We're going to look at what he sent. He also sent a couple of extra things that we'll look at later. But for right now, let's go over there and look at that. Right here is the 6 rocks that he mailed me. Now, what we have here is a Brazilian agate, all cut from the same rock. And you can see here written on the side, like this one was taken up to a 60 grit on the Richardson's high-speed sander. He then taped off half of it and buffed it. Okay, so there we can see it, 60 grit on the right, and then over to the buffer. He also did the other side with 60 grit. Now he has a video up as well. I'm going to drop a link down to his YouTube channel and the video that he produced showing these rocks and this kind of whole process. So the plan is, since he took this up to a 60, I'm going to tape off a side and take it over to my buffer and see who gets the better results, because we'll be able to like flip back and forth. So real quick, we got 60 grit here, and you can kind of see, maybe we got a little bit of hazy lines in it. It's kind of hard to capture. So 60 grit. 220 grit. So on the right we got 220 and the buffed. 400 right there, kind of a very satin finish, looking a lot nicer. 600 on the right, and then the buff, much nicer, more of that high gloss wet finish. 800, this is usually where I take up something on the Richardson's too. So we have 800 here, and then I would take it over to my buffing wheel. And I think that's about the consistency of my polishes as well. I mean, we'll find out with this great side-by-side, won't we? And then finally, we're up to a 3000. There's not 3000 grit pads for the Richardson's, but you know, you can use other things to achieve that, other machines and whatnot. And so we have 3000 there on the right, and then the buff, which looks really, really good. I think there's the light illuminating the shot. Well, I'm going to tape off the opposing sides, and we'll fire up my buffing wheel and see how the two compare. He did all of his buffing at about approximately 1 minute being pressed up against the wheel. I generally go a little bit longer. I will go, I would go about 2 minutes or so, 2 or 3 minutes buffing. And we're going to go with his 1 minute, which that seems fair, right? That's what he did. We're going to replicate it. And I have some theories, but well, before I share my theories with you, let's give this a shot. I have these taped up. I marked my side of the stone with a little black Sharpie mark, and you can see I got this taped off. Did that for all of these, and I'm just going to go through and polish them up, and I'm going to do the same time that he did of 1 minute. I finished up all of those pieces on the wheel. They're now all in this bucket of water. And since I don't have a sink out here in my shop, I'm going to take that into my house, wash those up with dish soap, get all the cerium oxide off, and we can look at them over here on the bench. Here are the rocks, his side facing up. Before we flip this over and look at my side, I thought I'd share with you a couple of pieces that he sent with me in addition to these. He sent me these lovely napped arrowheads out of obsidian, this one, and this one, which is very, very transparent, very cool to see. I'm assuming that he did these. I do have another little arrowhead back here that was done out of fire opal that Brian over at the Canyon Rim Polka Dot agate bed gave me, which is cool. So yeah, these are beautiful. I've never done any kind of napping before, and it's beautiful to see. He also sent a piece of corpolite, which is petrified poo. At least that's what I'm assuming this is, and it's not a concretion, because I don't know enough about them to really distinguish between the two, but that's what I'm going to assume here. And a lovely piece of kyanite. I actually don't have any kyanite. Well, that's not true. I've gone and collected kyanite before, but I've only got little tiny mini pieces. This is very big and very blue compared to what I have collected. So thank you very much for that. Well, put those aside here shortly. So these are his sides facing up, and we'll start with the 60 grit. So these are clean and high, you know, that's his 60 grit and then buffed. And here is 60 grit and my buff. What do you think? I mean, 60 grit Richardson's over to the buffer. 2 different materials on there. I'm very tempted to say they're the same. Very, very tempted. I'll face them all my side up. 220. 220 grit Richardson's right there. His polish on it. 220. My polish. After we do this, I'm going to take them outside and we'll look at them under the natural light as well. So we're 400, his side. And 400, my side. $600, 600 his side. $600 my side. There's 800, and then buffed, 800 his side. Mine. Man, I don't know. These are looking quite close if you ask me. So 3,000. 3,000 my side. That is looking quite similar, quite similar. Let's, I'm going to put some video in here of these outside in the natural light. We'll look at the 60 and 3,000 outside, and we can kind of see how that compares. Another thing that people inevitably bring up because I have a microscope is to look at these under the microscope. And well, we'll look at the 3,000 under the microscope here, and it doesn't, I mean, in my opinion, it doesn't look good. I mean, you got to remember, we polish for the naked eye. We polish for the naked eye, not for microscopes. Everything under a microscope that is touched by man generally looks hazy, scratched up, and overall not super duper great. So one last look. We're going to look at the 800 on his side. You can kind of see that line there, that delineation. Okay, rock it just like that, side to side. 800. Because this is usually what I take something up to on the Richardsons before buffing. And then mine. 800 on the Richardsons, and then mine. I thought there was going to be a bigger difference. I really did. I thought there was going to be a much bigger difference. In the comments, people are always like, put leather on your buffer. Leather. Do leather. 100% leather. And I'm not seeing that. I'm not seeing the... Here's the... That's the carpet one more time. I'm not seeing it, right? That right there. Well, you got a little mark right there. So, leather, carpet. I don't see a difference. I do think the shape of the wheel could be playing a difference, if there is any. So, if something is domed and you're pressing into it really, really hard, the amount of like PSI that you're able to generate on the stone is going to be greater. And friction, heat, and buffing compound to make progressively tinier and tinier scratches is what makes this thing polished. So in theory, a domed wheel would be better than a flat wheel, but even that, I might have to send these back to him and get a second set of eyes on this, because they look very, very similar if you ask me. Well, let me know your thoughts down below. Go check out Stefan's channel. It's excellent. He's got all kinds of great polishing stuff over there. I look to him for inspiration on how to get better at all of this stuff. So maybe that'll be the case for you too. Well, everybody, thank you for coming by, hanging out with me in the shop, listening to what I have to say, and I will catch you on the next video.